I think the real thing we wanted to do is actually sort of change the event. I think one of the good things about Confex is it's always been the industry's leading show, and I think we're in quite a good, formidable position that we can actually often put things into this show and then almost take a lead on some of the industry. We represent and also reflect the industry, and I think that's some of the the benefits that this show has because it's been around for so long. I think the key thing we were looking to do really was move it away almost from being a traditional trade show which had lots of shell scheme and really try and change the atmosphere and the actual life of the show. And I think that's definitely something that we've found as people have been walking around. They've said, it has got a good atmosphere, there's a very good buzz, and lots of people have been saying it's a job well done, so we're pleased. I think the show's gone really well this morning. At 9 o'clock this morning, we actually opened the show at 10, that's when the doors open. But at 9 o'clock this morning, there were people queuing up to get in. And when the doors opened at 10, you had this sort of stream of people charging down into the show, down to the aisles, to talk to exhibitors. And literally 10 minutes into the show, there were people on pretty much every stand around the show. And the exhibitor feedback has been very good. We had, exhibitors sign some very big deals yesterday as well as today. And I think just the level of interest in the 2008 show, next year's show, shows that we've had a good show all round. So the thing we're looking for visitors to get out of the show this year is we really want them to have lots of ideas that they can take away with them. I think increasingly in the world today, it's very easy using things like Google to find, using search engines, what you're looking for if you know what you already want. But the real beauty of a show like this is it can teach you and give you ideas that you didn't even know that you needed to know. And I think increasingly as people look to run events, it's always about trying to run a better event, a more successful event. And by coming to a show like Confex, you can walk around and take ideas from us, take ideas from the exhibitors, whether it's networking ideas, whether it's ideas for features, whether it's some of the technology that's on show at this year's show, and all round how people can make and improve their events. We made a number of changes to our brand this year, and they were really looking to reflect the sort of changing demographic of the audience who come to shows and go to events and are in the industry. I think historically this show had, it had a very old, mature audience who it was very important they continued to come to this show. But what we wanted to do is appeal to a sort of younger demographic of people who are now organising events, people whether in their 20s or their early 30s, who have a significant part to play in the industry. And our brand was about reaching out to these new people, whilst also still keeping, the old loyal customers who are visitors who come year after year to ensure they come. And I think we've done that. You only need to have a look at the footfall in all the aisles to see how successful the show's been. The average Confex visitor, there are really many different groups. We cover lots of very different topic areas and subject areas. You have everyone from people who do sort of weddings and parties at one end of the spectrum, all the way through to people who organise big conferences for tens of thousands of people, or big exhibitions like this one and even bigger, where you've got 100 or 200,000 people coming along to a show. And it's a very diverse audience who come, so we're having to offer them lots of different alternatives, from small venues to big venues. I think we needed to change the look of the show at Confex this year, because it had almost had that same sort of standard exhibition format that the show had for many years, where you walk around and there's a lot of shell scheme and it all looks very similar, and the aisle carpets and just the way the show's all put together just makes it look the same. And we wanted to inject a bit more life. We wanted there to be more atmosphere at the show. We wanted people to enjoy themselves, because if people are going to leave the office and not just sit there on their internet terminals talking to each other via email and actually build some strong, lasting relationships, we need to get them down here. I think it was really important this year because there are so many diverse elements to the events industry. I think it was really important to actually try and reflect many of these different aspects. So whether it was doing a tie-in with ISIS on our London bar and having a good-looking bar there, or whether it was doing some of the tie-ins with some of the contractors and some of the associations on some of the things we've been doing in the seminar theatre. Some of the tie-ins with people like De Vere, for example, on our VIP programme. It's important on a show like this to try and bring all the different elements together and showcase the whole of the industry. And that's one of the things that Confex does. It does bring the industry together and allows us to showcase ourselves. And I think more and more importantly, there are two things that stand out on most marketeers' radars. And those two things are live events, number one, and they're also sort of technology-based products. And if you, as an end user, are trying to talk to customers, or trying to talk to your buyers, or you're trying to talk to your staff or your workforce, there are two real ways to do it. There's email and there's technology, and then there's also live events. And I think live events in an increasingly virtual world allow you to really build relationships with the key people you need to. And a show like Confex does that. Confex Knowledge is a really great addition to this year's show. What it enables us to do is really deliver a lot of strong content to event organisers to tell them about how they can organise their event more effectively and actually run really, really good events. And we've got a very broad range of topics that have been covered, everything from the people who maybe organise one event a year and work for a big corporate, all the way through to the seasoned professionals who run, dozens and dozens of big events like this every single year. And it's quite a strong programme. We've had 45 keynotes, 45 seminar sessions and 3 very strong keynotes. And I think overall the sessions have been very, very well received, and everyone said that the content's been very strong, so we're very happy. At Confex Knowledge this year, we've been really, really oversubscribed on a lot of the sessions, which is very good. They've been nice and busy, and we've actually been so busy on the keynote sessions that we've actually had to stream them into some of the adjacent seminar theatres we've got here at Confex to actually show that everyone can actually view the seminars. We've actually taken an additional step, which we planned before this show, which is a new initiative we're doing, which is about actually recording all of the seminar sessions and allowing them to be sort of webcast and also podcast afterwards, which means that if you're a visitor and you come along to the show and you're so busy walking around talking to people, meeting new contacts and doing business, if you miss that important seminar session and you're keen to actually listen to after the show next week, you'll be able to download that seminar session via a webcast or get it as a podcast and listen to it on your iPod on the way to work. We'd really like exhibitors to walk away from this show realising that the team who've worked on the show this year, whether that's the marketing team or the ops team or the sales team or the press team, have actually really made a big difference to this year's Confex. I certainly know from walking around the show that all the exhibitors I've spoken to are very happy, and they've said it, they've had a really great couple of days, and I just hope that that's true for the ones I haven't actually been able to get round to and have a conversation with. They also think it's good. Our feedback certainly says that everyone's having a good show, and I hope the exhibitors take away from this year's show that we've delivered a really good show and start looking forward to next year's with the same enthusiasm that I am, because I do honestly believe that next year is going to be better than this year. I think the really key thing I'd like exhibitors to take away from this show is that not only have the team here been, delivered a really successful event, but also that for going forward, that it's something that they've bought into a lot more, because I think with all the exhibitors that we have in this room, that we can send out a really strong message to people who aren't usually associated with the live events or the meetings industry, and actually say that this is a really, really good, strong industry. It's a great way of speaking to people, and try and get more and more people to actually run events and get into the events industry, and also so that we can start lobbying government more and try and get more breaks for our industry, because we play an important role in the UK economy, and I think hopefully we can get some momentum building where we can really start to get noticed a little bit more. We conducted some research before the show, and it said that 73% of people were coming to this show looking for one idea or one bit of inspiration. I can look out there on the show floor and know that they've got a lot more than one idea. I think it's been a really, really good show, and we really have seen the whole marketplace come together. There have been some fantastic people walking around. Many people I know, and also just reading some of the people's name badges, there's been some really, really good quality in here. But I don't think this event would have been the success it had been if it wasn't for some of the exhibitors, because the exhibitors themselves, they are the marketplace. They're the one who's come together. They're the ones who've been standing on their stands and really working this show. And really, without the exhibitors delivering on their stand for the last 3 days, we wouldn't have had such a busy, exciting show. So it's been good. I think one of the really good things that we've seen at this year's show is that of the UK buyers who are coming to this show and having a walk around at this show, 60% of them are buying outbound, and that's a phenomenal amount of business. The UK economy at the moment, the pound is very strong, and for most countries to actually have some of the British pound being spent in their country is a good thing. And I think what you find is that from the people walking around the show, UK is, we're UK as an audience and as a marketplace, we're still looking to travel, we're still looking to do incentive trips, we're still looking to do meetings and events abroad, and it's a very strong market that people should come and look at. I would say overall that my final thoughts on the show this year is that, overall I'm really quite pleased. I think if you look out there's a lot of people having a lot of fun, doing a lot of business, meeting a lot of people, and, ultimately we are a people industry, and it's all about, human beings like talking to other human beings. We really do. And you need to look out there on the show floor and see people standing there with a glass of champagne in their hand, having a little bit of fun, having a few drinks, meeting some people and doing some business. And I think that's really good, and that's what this industry is about, and that's what this show is about. And I think overall, over the last 3 days, we've definitely achieved that.